Welcome to day 276 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of May 2017, which was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I guess just to make sure, if there's any like weirdness in terms of this recording, I'm using a completely different computer for just random reasons. Don't worry about it. But yeah, hopefully everything sounds fine. But yeah, just want to make that clear before we talk about this movie.
Yeah.
Uh, this is not. This is kind of weird to talk about. At least I feel that way.
I feel like there were a lot of cliches, but then at the same time, what they did with those cliches.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't like science fiction. I think I've said this a couple of times.
You've also said that you've said this a couple of times.
Yes. I've made it very clear at this point that I don't really like science fiction. I'm not a fan. So it does take certain aspects to get me interested. And I guess because this had the advantage of being a sequel and they didn't focus on the sci-fi part, which is the part that confuses, annoys, or bores me, or a combination of all three. So I was able to actually get invested in this movie because it was more like a drama with sci-fi elements instead of a sci-fi with drama elements, which was what I kind of felt about the first one because I was extremely confused.
You mean like a space opera?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why whenever we watched like the Star Wars movie, I always had a bit of hesitation because like sometimes I was like they kind of overdid the sci-fi and then the drama was weird. But the main different movie with that was Rogue One first. Because I don't count like the astronaut movies because those are more dramas and that's like actual science fact.
Yeah, they're not science fiction because they happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this case, I was like, okay, this is another movie that is quote unquote sci-fi, but I actually enjoy it because it doesn't focus on the sci-fi part.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's because I see the first one as like a fun adventure, right?
Yeah.
Which I enjoy that. I like the movie a good amount, but it's not like it's what it is, right? You're not gonna get high drama from Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
yeah.
Well, you kind of do for this one, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Especially since, like I said, it has its cliches. It has, like, the I'm your father cliche. It has the, like, basically the twist where the, like, paternal figure is, like, the actual blood relative is actually kind of crazy, but the adoptive dad and stuff. But
Uh-huh.
you don't really care.
Yeah, like I was thinking, especially kind of near like the I don't know the middle part of the movie, where I was feeling like I remember thinking I'm not 100% sure how like solid I am on kind of where everything is in terms of like the pieces falling into place naturally, because I remember the beginning part of the movie is a little unfocused.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, and also the whole like I guess. Well, okay. I knew the twist in this. I guess I knew that coming into this. In terms of villain guy. So I knew that coming in, and so when the reveal happened, I was like, do I fully like buy this in terms of like, does it feel like they set this up properly and all that kind of stuff? And I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about that exactly, but like what you said, I kind of just didn't care about that after it kept going.
I guess the thing is that with like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're gonna use tropes, and you know that they're gonna use tropes. So when they use them like not in that irritating way, because you kind of know that it's coming.
Yeah, and the movie knows what it's doing, right?
Yeah.
So
They don't like do like high anticipation for it, like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, they acknowledge the fact that you know what's going to happen, but
Yeah.
they kind of move forward with it.
Yeah.
instead of focusing on the cliche or the trope and stuff.
Yeah, and I do find it kind of funny that like the pretty much the one scene I had seen from this, and I'm pretty sure it was in a lot of it was I don't know, it was one of the trailers, I think. It was the whole thing with Groot and the bomb, right? And I was like, huh, that's like basically the climax of the movie, but it was like a trailer, which is like you would think is a terrible idea for a trailer. Because the whole point is to, like, you know, hide that kind of stuff, right? It's to build up the hype for the climax. But they kind of just showed that part of it, and, like, it still works really well as a trailer, and also, you know, here. So it was kind of like, huh.
I guess in the trailer is completely out of context. It's just like, oh, here's tiny Groot with the bomb, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's like the bomb isn't the central focus of the film.
No, I know.
Either.
Yeah, it's just funny that was where that ended up being.
No. Yeah, I'm agreeing with your point, where it's kind of like, I think if it was like a central focus, then it would be like, why did you make that decision? But because it wasn't, and there were like so many other plot elements and stuff, I think it worked out and everything, and it's just really interesting in that respect.
Yeah, and I'll admit, climax leading into the ending of this movie got me kind of emotional.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
You mean with Blue Dad?
Kinda like all of it.
Yeah.
So, and there's other Marvel movies that I like a good amount, but I don't think any of them really had done that yet. So, even the ones that I like quite a lot, like I would say before, I would have said, Winter Soldier was my favorite at this point, and but it didn't get me like emotionally like involved to that, like in that level. So even though I might say like in terms of like objective quality, I don't know, that's not the right word, but like I guess I would say that Winter Soldier has fewer problems with it, but honestly I think overall I like this a little bit more even. But I don't know, I could see someone disagreeing with that, because I've heard kind of a debate as like, which is a better Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the first one or the second one, right? And I like the first one quite a bit, but I think as of now, I think this is my favorite Marvel movie, actually, which I didn't really expect. And even in like halfway through the movie, I was thinking that's not going to be the case. But yeah, the ending, climax, and all of that kind of completely sold me on it. So
yeah, considering how I feel about this genre, I had very like low to middle expectations going in. I was like, okay, it's probably just going to be fine. I'll probably still be confused. But when they kind of left the sci-fi-ness at the wayside, I was like, oh, okay, I can actually enjoy this movie now. And not worry about like what this means, what that means, who this race is.
Yeah, they didn't spend too much time on that.
Yeah.
Or anything.
That said, though, I do really like just in general, the visual style of this movie is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I remember
nice colors.
Yeah, we praised the first film for its effects and visual style too, but this one is even better made, and it's also more interesting.
Yeah.
So,
I especially like the effects when they're going, like, I guess it's the equivalent of when in Star Wars they call it light speed.
Oh, the jumping, I think they said, yeah.
Yeah, where I like the effect where it's like this like hexagonal thing that appears and you just see it. That was just, it's a small like little thing in the whole movie, but I really like the effect that they used for that, and then the whole pinball thing.
Yeah, and then especially Ego's planet just looks really good. In terms of like color.
And there's an angry face on it.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, it's not a face.
Let's see, and then and also like not just that, but like the technology design, the species design, the alien design.
Oh, like I liked the hands-off ships that the Sovereign had.
Oh yeah.
It was like this arcade kind of setup, but then they operate remotely the ships, and that was really interesting. I was like, why don't other species do that?
Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like
you wouldn't lose any people.
I feel like one of the things. I mean, Star Wars has its own aesthetic, and if it tried to deviate from that, people would riot. But I feel like a lot of the time, Star Wars is a good example of this, where their aesthetic is fine, but it's it's safe, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing's like super weird, and the stuff that is weird is kind of like, oh, look at this thing, it's the weird thing, right? And think of
Look
like,
at Jar Jar Binks.
yeah. Whereas like this, like everything's fucking weird, but like that's the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it embraces it more, and I really really like that aspect of it, and yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where like, you know, does it look real? No, but like it knows it doesn't look real, so let's have as much non-real fun with it as we can. So
it kind of embraces that instead of
Exactly.
trying to. It's not like it's trying to look realistic and doing it badly, like say like Hollow Man or something like that.
yeah, so I'm trying to think of this. I feel like I glanced over something, but I'm not sure what. But yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else to mention?
Uh,
Are we all in agreement that we like this more than the first one?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, again, I like the first one, but I like this one more.
Baby Groot is so cute.
It was so sad when they were bullying him.
And then he was crying.
I know.
That was the saddest thing. He was like a baby crying, and then
you see the teenager.
Yeah,
and then I was
teenager.
just like, no, you stay tiny and cute, please. Vin Diesel is Groot still.
Oh my God.
I'm just imagining him like, see, okay, they should have just so dumb. But even for like Baby Groot, like don't have any like voice effects on him at all. Just have his normal voice, just like sup.
Just still Vin Diesel,
Yeah.
manly man. I am Groot.
But no, not even like don't even have him play up that sort of voice. Just literally just his normal talking voice saying that out of Baby Groot.
I
Oh my
am
God.
Groot.
Oh, speaking of that, did you notice actually in the credits there was a bunch of things that at first said "I am Groot" before like changing to like the names of people and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I guess we should mention the situation involving James Gunn.
Oh,
What situation?
Oh, I'm sure you just forgot. So he's the director of these two movies, and a right-wing, alt-right piece of shit hack job, who I'm not even gonna name because he doesn't deserve it, basically dug up some old tweets that James Gunn made, which, by the way, were public tweets, and people knew about them already. And it was like, you know, bad taste jokes about like pedophilia or something. Okay, it was clear that it was a joke, but it doesn't mean it was like, you know, oh, that's totally absolves it or whatever. No, I'm not saying like he shouldn't have said it. He should, but like it was not serious. And basically was like, oh my God, Disney, look how you could possibly hire someone with such poor values, and they canned him because of a complete political hack operative who did it because James Gunn is fairly vocal on social media about, you know, thinking people like that person who I'm not naming are pieces of shit because they are pieces of shit. So that is, again, complete bullshit. And there was a whole thing about pretty much all like the cast and the crew or whatever of these movies basically were like, yeah, no, bring him back. Like, don't do this. And that's why Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been postponed for some time.
I see.
Now, I've heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've heard that, I can't remember anyone's name, but the main guy who's actually like Kevin Feige or something, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, of the MCU, he like did not want to get rid of James Gunn, but some guy above him in the ladder of Disney corporate, you know, person, you know, he's the ultimate reason that they got rid of James Gunn, and apparently now there's this like, basically I've heard that like Kevin Feige and like some other people are basically just waiting for that guy to retire so then they can hire James Gunn back.
Oh, I see.
And then just make the third one. So I hope he comes back because it, you know, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you know, this is Guardians of the Galaxy is totally James Gunn's thing and nobody else deserves to touch it or whatever. I'm not saying that, but like he should do it. You know, it's
Especially if he directed this and the other.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the fact that he was gotten rid of for completely bullshit reasons. So, at least the only good consolation I can say from this is that now he was taken on by DC to do Suicide Squad 2.
Oh.
Which I'm morbidly curious about how that's going to turn out, actually. So
I mean, considering Will Smith isn't coming back, I wonder what they're gonna do with the cast lineup.
I don't know
since,
either,
like,
especially because I saw something else that said that Will Smith's character was going to be like one of the big focuses of Suicide Squad 2.
oh, that's awkward.
Yeah,
'Cause,
so
like, you know, he was one of the just okay, random, normal characters, but then the best one, El Diablo, is dead, so
yeah,
I don't know
And
what
the
they're gonna
man
do.
who can climb anything.
The man who can climb anything.
Anyway, so that's just still a big shitty situation, but hopefully that gets resolved, and this is now your lesson. Any corporate business owners that are totally listening to us,
I guess lesson with the movie as well is just don't be an asshole.
well, yeah, but also again, specifically to this case, don't just bow to pressure from people. Actually, like, research what they're talking about. Again, and like who is the one championing these things, because again, if you looked at this person, again, that person I'm not naming stuff, the stuff he said is way worse and not in a joking manner. So yeah, just please pay attention to that, Disney or whoever. So yeah, okay. Well, before we leave, I would just like to say the next film.
Oh yeah, it's June.
The next film is the first of two films that I would say robbed us of happiness.
Yeah.
We'll discuss what we mean next time.
If you had expectations for what we're watching next month, I guarantee you are wrong. You are so wrong.
We are going to be miserable.
You are so wrong.
It's despicable.